Usually I try to start these reviews with some kind of anecdote or context for why I chose to play and review the subject of the video, but in this case there isn't much to say about Dredge beyond just being a game that I've wanted to play since I first discovered it. The idea of being a lone fisherman exploring mysterious waters is something right up my alley, and the art direction of the game is compelling to me even without the theme, so this playthrough was long overdue. In Dredge, you play as a nameless fisherman who has arrived in the town of Greater Marrow to replace the town's previous fisherman. As you approach Greater Marrow, a strange fog engulfs your ship, completely obscuring your vision and causing you to crash into the nearby rocks. Waking up in town, you're informed by the mayor that everyone is glad you're in one piece and that you've been loaned a boat to replace your sunken vessel. This repayment period is effectively the tutorial of the game, as you learn to catch and sell fish to the local fishmonger and are taught about upgrading your vessel. From here the game properly begins and you're free to sail around the archipelago, but the mayor advises you not to stay out too late, as there are no shortage of strange happenings on these waters after dark. Dredge at its core has three main pillars of gameplay: catching fish and dredging for upgrade materials, inventory management, and exploring the open world. The fishing and dredging activities are represented as minigames all designed around circles and pressing a button at the appropriate moment. Once materials are surfaced or a fish is caught, the player must then fit their catch into a grid-based inventory system representing their ship's hull. Your hull has dedicated, labeled spaces that can be used for different types of equipment, such as your fishing rods, lights, and engines. You can place any fish or dredged items in these marked spaces, but equipment can only be placed in a valid matching section. While your storage space on deck is limited, you do have a storage box that can be accessed from any dock point, and cleaning up your inventory is enough incentive to dock regularly. Towns and trading posts are where you can sell your yield, repair your ship, or research new types of equipment using research parts that are found through multiple means. You are also able to use your obtained upgrade materials to increase hull space or gain additional equipment slots for bigger and better tools. There are 5 total biomes in the archipelago, each with their own population of fish and specific equipment requirements to catch them. Throughout the game, you unlock multiple ways to catch fish, such as new fishing rods, trawling nets, and crab pots, and all of these methods will be utilized in some way to complete quests, which Dredge calls pursuits. The typical game loop of Dredge is to receive a pursuit, sail to a location, catch specific fish or locate items, and return to the quest giver to receive your reward. While these pursuits are a means of tracking progress, you're also free to explore the waters and fish at your leisure, as Dredge contains a large library of fish to catch and the random chance for the fish to be altered due to the mysterious nature of the area. In Dredge, time only moves forward when you're moving or engaged in one of the gathering minigames, with sundown occurring around 6 p.m. After the sun goes down, you are still free to sail around and catch fish, but this is where Dredge introduces its mysterious eldritch horror elements. Staying out late will slowly increase your panic level, represented as an eye below your compass. As your panic increases, the game world responds in different ways. There are a variety of hazards that will appear to either rapidly increase your panic or attempt to damage your ship. Damage is sustained by marking tiles in your inventory grid. Anything that utilized a damaged tile will be lost overboard, and affected equipment will be unusable until repaired. Your panic level does technically have a maximum, represented by an intense red color on the eye, but can be rapidly reduced by sleeping until dawn at a dock, or reduced slowly over time during the day. Having a high panic value can also visually alter how locations look, adding more life to the game world and further cementing the atmosphere of uncertainty around the world as it's perceived. I think the addition of having panic affect the game world strikes an interesting balance of encouraging the player to experiment with higher panic, while also not overwhelming the player with threats should they have a higher level. The consequences for panic are very manageable, with only a single exception when you have extremely high panic for a long period of time, which I won't explain here. I'll let you find out for yourself. While I do think that having a higher frequency of hazards could have made for more exciting moments, Dredge instead elects to keep them somewhat infrequent. But this infrequency is extremely effective at creating tension when these hazards do appear, and are an excellent example of smart decisions that allow Dredge to shine. Dredge handily succeeds at creating the theme and atmosphere of being isolated in the vast expanse of an ocean through excellent music and sound design. While there are Lovecraftian horror elements and mysteries throughout Dredge, they strike a perfect equilibrium of being inconsequential to gameplay and foundational to the experience that Dredge aims to deliver. These elements aren't present to necessarily frighten or put the player in life-threatening danger, but rather to be unsettling and create the feeling that some incomprehensible force is having an effect on the environment. Even as you experience panic-related events, both auditory and visual, they often disappear as quickly as they manifest, further reinforcing the idea of questioning your own sanity observing these phenomena as both the player and the protagonist. Pursuits throughout the game often contain cryptic and mysterious elements, but resolving these events leave the player with more questions than answers, which I think are an excellent means of enthralling the player and pulling them even deeper into the world of Dredge. Most pursuits, rather than wrapping up nicely, leave the player with more things to ponder and consider about what may or may not be happening in the archipelago until they reach the end of the game. In my opinion, Dredge is a fantastic game that succeeds in basically everything it sets out to do. The only thing I found myself wishing for was being able to continue sailing while looking at your map, but otherwise there's little to nothing that isn't executed well. If you haven't played Dredge already, I highly recommend that you check it out. I felt it was certainly worth the wait. Thanks for watching, take care, and remember, keep having fun.